All right, welcome everybody. It is Strategy Cafe. This is episode 12. And Strategy Cafe, this is where most practitioners are great at their craft, but they're unfortunately terrible at getting clients. And that's what Strategy Cafe exists to fix. So, episode 12, I'm Chris Thompson. I'm here with Timothy September. We are the co-founders of the Pykthos Mastermind, which is a community and a coaching program that includes the software and the done for you assets that you need to actually run your business. But these are not pitching calls. These are helping calls. So we run Strategy Cafe to deliver value first. If you do want to learn more about the mastermind after the session, feel free to head to pykthos.com. So every other Friday, we break down right here on Strategy Cafe what serious business builders actually do, like build their pipelines and their automated follow-up, making revenue predictable. So if you're on the replay, then feel free to head on over to pykthos.com/cafe because we send out summary notes after each session so you won't miss a thing. Let's get going. How you doing, Timothy?
Yo, I'm doing great, Chris, and I'm so happy and grateful for all of you who are here. We've spent the last couple weeks without Chris. Like he said, he was on vacation, and we were so sad, but he's back now, safe and sound. And
Yeah.
I'm excited because we've got a great show lined up.
Yeah, I think we do. I missed, I should say, the last strategy cafe that you did solo. And I think you had some of our mastermind members on and talked about just some of the ways that you want to implement automated systems in your business. And we're not going to go into the details, but we built something for our members called the Simple Machine. I'm sure we've explained this in the past, just conceptually on Strategy Cafe, because even if you never joined Pykthos, it's useful to know, right? What you want to have happen in terms of the automated follow-up. You want people to become a lead from a lead magnet. You want to automate something like a short-term engagement sequence and an indoctrination campaign so that they are familiar with what you're doing. And then you want to gear them towards that discovery call. Let's say you're doing a lot of one-on-one sessions. And ultimately, knowing most people will not take that action right away, you want to stay in front of them through a long-term nurture campaign. And that's basically what the Simple Machine is. And but even just understanding that, you can start to put the pieces together in your head. So Timothy, I know you walked through a little bit of that on the
Mhm.
last call, and now I'm back. And also for our mastermind members on our Wednesday calls, you spent 2 weeks going through the basics of, well, not even the basics, pretty much a master class on how to use Claude Cowork.
Yeah.
So, actually, just by show of hands, how many people have used Claude as an AI tool at all? Mike and Alexandra and John, of course, yeah, and Liesel, mastermind members of ours. So, and if you, most people know Chat GPT, which of course is the consumer brand for AI that we all started with. It's like the Kleenex or the Coca-Cola of the industry, and it's fantastic. Claude's the one that we've been personally migrating towards, though, simply because of the ability to use Claude Cowork, which requires their $20 a month plan, because it can work in folders on your computer. And what we are starting to do is migrate static assets like templates around like your customer avatar into automated assets that Claude can read and help you with and interact with. So anyway, that's just some stuff we want to make sure we highlighted is even though we won't have time to cover it in depth on a call like this, it is absolutely worth your time to understand how a tool like Claude Cowork can help you be aware and educated on all the different assets in your business, the niche that you serve, the offers that you have, so that you can get more work done faster. And I know like that's a major focus for us. So if anyone does have questions about that, specific questions, we're probably able to answer them. But
Yeah.
that's what you spent 2 weeks with our mastermind members on. And then we sort of look to extract some nuggets from those calls of things we could bring here today,
Yeah.
and we want to, of course, make sure we answer all of your guys' questions, which I'll keep my eye on the chat. So, all right.
That's
Where
awesome.
do you want to start?
Yeah. Well, I think you were on this topic of co-work, right? And for all of our mastermind members, they know that we do much deeper dives inside the Pykthos Mastermind. But for the
Mhm.
general consensus, like you said, a lot of people probably use ChatGPT. Some might know Claude. Some might know about, Google Gemini, right?
Mhm.
Cowork is a completely different beast. And so we probably won't go into too much detail on these calls, but Cowork and really these AI tools in general are really good at helping you understand patterns. And they're really good at being able to help you find things that you're probably missing in your own business. And one of the ways that it can help you, specifically with patterns, is if you have a funnel or an offer. I think this would be a great place to start.
Mhm.
If you don't know exactly what to do, maybe Chris, maybe you can talk about how people can work backwards to map
Oh
their
yeah,
funnel
sure.
starting with their offer.
Yeah, and okay, this is great. Let's wrap this around the overall suggestion too that if you're going to interact with an AI tool, first of all, learn how to use the voice to text capabilities on your computer or a tool like Whisperflow because it just makes it so much faster to interact with. But yeah, then if you can work with an AI tool and have the AI tool document and summarize all the stuff you're saying, I like to just riff a lot of the time. I'll talk to AI just like I'm talking to you guys right now and then have it make documents for me. And if it's Cowork, then it's going to write those to my folder on my computer, which is shared in a Google Drive. And I now have an asset that's done just from having a conversation, which accomplishes the goal. A friend of ours, Jeff Sauer, he said to us the other day, well, the other month, he said, I feel like I just talk to AI now and it just does all the work. And that's the reality. I now I feel I understand what he meant by that. Anyway, so to go backwards from your offer down to the entry point in your funnel, this is the easiest way to think about it. And this is what Timothy was just flagging me to talk about. Start by knowing what it is that's going to put food on the table. So, what is your core offer that's actually going to get you paid? If you know what that is, then that's the top of the staircase, right? If you think of your customer journey as a staircase that people have to find out you exist and go through these steps to then become a buyer of your core offer. You have to start with the end in mind, and then you can work your way backwards. So, how many of you, for example, are running one-on-one sessions or would like to run one-on-one sessions that would be in your mind the primary way that you're planning on making money? Okay, so I see Tina saying I am. Anybody else? Yeah, Mike, of course, you're doing consulting. Jonathan, is there anyone else who would like to, as their primary way of getting paid, do group cohorts or class type stuff? That would be another common. Liesel's raising her hand. Okay, so those are pretty common examples, right? Now, there's no reason that you can't do both, but if you are just starting out or you don't feel like you have a structure in place, maybe you've been doing this for 10 years and you just still sort of feel disorganized, that's fine. Just organize yourself around one core activity first. So let's say that that's one-on-one sessions or classroom sessions or cohorts, doesn't matter. That's the thing that if you sell enough of it, you will make good money. And obviously you want to do some modeling. I mean, I come from a financial background, so engineering and finance background. So I was like, I start thinking about all the plumbing, which is the engineering part of it that kind of gets people moving towards a goal and the numbers and the math around it around, well, how many clients do you need in a typical month buying your core thing in order to achieve your financial objectives, right? From a cash flow perspective or whatever. So you need that to happen. Okay. And then you can start modeling backwards and go, all right, what has to happen before they buy the core offer? Probably, if it's a one on one, for example, you're probably going to have to do some sort of discovery call, unless you're already very busy and you just get a lot of referral business. And many people get there. I mean, we know a lot of people who are just very busy. They get a lot of referral business. But if you're not there yet, you'll probably be like, okay, well, in order to sell the one-on-one package, the training package that I'm doing with people, and let's say you're doing a package that's $1,500 for X number of sessions, your objective is to make $10,000 a month of revenue. So you need to close what's 10,000 divided by 1.5. So that's about 6.6, I think, right? So you need like 6 to 7 clients per month to make that kind of revenue. Okay. So how are you going to get those 6 to 7 clients per month? You need to get people into a discovery call funnel. And that's probably the thing where they're going to get pitched, right? You're going to excite them in the discovery call funnel. You're going to give them an aha experience. So you have to have a discovery call funnel, obviously. Or let's say if it's a classroom cohort type of thing, you're probably not going to necessarily do one-on-one. In fact, Jonathan, was it you that we were talking to on Wednesday? Or was it, no, maybe it was Bradley. I can't remember. On our mastermind call, one of the guys was talking about doing a cohort thing and pricing it at 97 bucks. You're probably not doing a discovery call for that. Waste of time, right? It's too much of your time to sell an individual $97 offer. So instead, you're probably looking at a webinar as the step right before they buy or something like that. So you have to just start with the end in mind and then go backwards and go, okay, what happens right before they buy? What happens right before that? It might be a lead magnet. It might be a high value video that you just don't even gate and hope that you can then retarget that audience into a webinar funnel or into a discovery call or whatever. But does that sort of make sense to you guys? Now go backwards, start with the end in mind, and preferably if you have a bit of a financial mindset around it, how many of these do I need? Go back a step. What's the thing that happens right before that? How many of those do I need, given my close rate and stuff? Go back a step from that. How many opt-ins do I need to get people to consider showing up for my webinar or discovery call to then consider buying my package? If you can put that together on paper, you'll have a pretty good, very simple model, and it doesn't take a lot of work. And if you do it, just to get back to where we started this conversation, if you do that in the presence of your AI, whether it be Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, listening to you riff about all this stuff, it'll help you with all the math. It'll help you with all the ideas. It'll help you with implementation ideas. And anyway, that's I think that would be very useful. Now, if you're in our mastermind, then we're going to be showing you exactly how to implement all this stuff too. But that's not the point of today's call.
Yeah. 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 I do love the whole idea of working backwards, right? Because it allows you to really think through, like you were saying, all the questions, like, how did I even get an opportunity to warm them up? Like, what was the very first thing that they saw when they were interacting with me? Was it like a paid ad? Was it
Hmm.
something on social? Is it an email that somebody forwarded to them, right? Like, again, we don't know. But always having the end in mind means that the customer is never going, okay, well, now what? Like it would be absolutely ridiculous if you were to go into your dentist, right?
Hmm.
Like, let's say that you're going for a routine checkup. You go to the dentist, and dentist goes, "Okay, yeah, like you've got these, parts of your mouth or whatever that you need a little work," and that was it. And you go, okay, but like, are you going to do it?" And he goes, "Oh no, I haven't thought that far ahead yet." Like, I still got to figure out how to bill you for fixing, whatever cavities you have or whatever. Like, you expect that from your dentist. Now, what about for you? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask for the sale. Speaking of dentists, interestingly, how many of you guys have seen different offers like free teeth whitening for first time clients? Yeah, you see it
Yeah.
all the time. Why do they do that? Because it doesn't cost them
Yeah.
very much to
No.
do a teeth whitening, right?
Yep. So,
They make you the mold that one of their the dental hygienists or whatever comes in there and molds your mouth and sticks the peroxide goo in it and sends you home with the kit. Maybe cost them 50 bucks or something. Yeah, think you're a customer of theirs at that point. Most
yeah.
likely, right? So they're spending $50 to acquire the customer that's then going to come back and have an ongoing relationship where they're constantly getting paid to do cleanings and to do other dental procedures. So it makes sense. So you always want to be thinking that when it comes to business, it costs you money or time, which is time is money. So it costs you money to get a customer. What's it cost you and so what's it worth, right? And as long as it costs you less than it's worth to you, you get a good return. And as long as you're charging less than the customer gets in value, they get a return. So it's win-win. So yeah, think about all that stuff. Anyway, that's just sort of set up. Do we have anything in the comments that we want to address, or does anybody have
Yeah.
a
Well,
question that they want to raise? Because if you do, go ahead and use the hand raise
yeah.
feature, just so at least we see that it's in the lineup.
So there is some stuff coming in, and
Mhm.
I want to address a couple of these things. First off, though, there are some super smart people in the room with us, like Tina, for example, and Alexandra know about MCP, specifically with like MCP servers, and it looks like Tina's actually set up Claude to connect to whatever email system I think is called Kit that she uses. And that is where she can literally type into Claude. It builds out the email, sends the
Mhm.
broadcast on her behalf, and that's great. The Pykthos platform for anyone who's in the mastermind or even just curious. We also have MCP servers set up so that if you want to
Yeah.
connect Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini to the Pykthos platform, you can. But that's awesome because I know Tina, and like I had no idea that she was this like marketing awesome guru that she is, which is great because
There you go.
she has a school community and a group, and like it's so great.
MCP servers are fairly new. They were actually designed, I think they were invented by Anthropic too, right?
Yes.
If I,
Yep.
cor- which is
Yeah.
Anthropic is the company behind Claude. Anthropic, interestingly, is probably worth more than OpenAI right now, just given the pace of their growth. Although they are both kind of in the almost $1 trillion market capitalization asset class. It's just crazy how fast these guys. I mean, you look at the biggest companies in the world, and they're in the trillions of dollars of value these days. And OpenAI and Anthropic are pushing it up against those numbers. So when an MCP server didn't exist, what the heck is it? Well, here's if you think about programmers in the past would use something called an API, an application. What the heck? Why does my brain fumble on that API?
Programming interface.
Programming interface. Thank
Programming
you, Mike.
interface.
The programming was the word. An application programming interface where basically coders could write code that would be like, hey, can you go find out, how many sales we made last week? And it would pull all orders from the last 7 days or whatever, and it would give you a nice result. But you would have to know the syntax of programming, and you would have to use API keys and all this stuff. And an MCP server, basically, you just get to put a human conversational layer over top of it. So you just have to say in plain English, hey, how many new sales did I do last week? And it'll go in and just do the code translation for you, pull the data back and say, oh, you made 15 sales last week. You want me to tell you who they were? And you go, yeah, please do. And it'll go in and get their names or anything like that. I mean, there's just so many cool things. Claude Cowork actually works with MCP servers in terms of how you interface with things like Gmail. So if you set up Claude and then you set up a connection to your Gmail account, you can use Claude Cowork and say, "Hey, can you scan my emails and tell me if there's anything that looks important over the last week?" And it'll go, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And it'll go pull all your emails and then it'll report back to you and say, "Oh yeah, actually you have one from your lawyer here. It sounds like you're getting sued. You should probably respond to that one." I'm just kidding. Um, it's incredible. That's all something called MCP, which is freaking wild. So you don't have to know how it works or all that stuff, all the tech behind it, but you just have to know that it exists and it makes your life easier so that you can just talk to computers and they can go connect to other computers and get data and pass it back to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The one thing that actually I read, which is a really interesting reframe of it, right, is that beforehand it used to be where you had to like log into all these platforms, very similar to like
Mhm.
the Pictos platform that we offer in the
Mhm.
Mastermind, how it has all the tools, so you don't have to go out and find, I don't have to go to Kajabi for building courses and then go to this other thing in order to make a website. It's all kind of like just together. And I mean, Kajabi had that too, but it's website builders kind of meh. But either way the way that MCP was explained to me is it's now kind of like having the AI as the front-facing interface,
Yes,
and it's the central hub, like the terminal that is connected to all the things you used to have to log into.
that's a great way to think of it. Yeah, it's just like, and to us, keeping it simple, we just talk to AI and AI goes and does the thing. So AI takes our plain English and translates it into computery speak and then comes back to us in plain English. And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you can even build your own MCP. Not this is way over most people's heads, I suppose, but I built one to be able to speak to two different platforms just by Claude Code. Claude Code just built it for me. Anyway, don't worry about that stuff. There's another area of AI. I'll just quickly throw this out there in case anybody's curious to talk more about it. But how many of you feel like editing content is kind of complicated, whether that be editing video or maybe since there's a lot of hypnotherapists and hypnotists in the room, editing audio. That's kind of a pain, don't really want to do it, don't really know how. I think a lot of people are in that boat. And I had an experience just before going away to Europe where Timothy and I wanted to produce a new sales page for the Pykthos Mastermind. And here's the I'm not pitching you, I promise. It might sound that way. Go to pykthos.com, click on the master, whatever the link is to get to the mastermind sales page. And we have a new sales page and we have a sales video. And it's actually pretty good. And I built that whole sales video by sitting in front of this camera, recording the whole script, and then editing it with AI. The whole thing is edited with AI. And I would have given it to my full-time video editor, but he was busy with other projects and I just needed it done quick. And I thought, okay, it's Friday night. I'm going to shoot this video and I'm going to figure out how to use AI to do some basic editing. And it turns out I did a lot more than basic editing. And it was incredible. I couldn't believe I keep in mind, like I knew nothing about this on Friday night. By Sunday afternoon, I had the video you see live on the website right now on the mastermind sales page. So it's about a 10-minute long video, I think. So if you're interested in how that worked, let me know and we can talk about it. But I am convinced, and this is what I was telling our mastermind members on Wednesday, we're now in an era where everything that kind of seemed hard to do a good job is now going to be pretty darn easy to do a good job of. And so it's not just videos, it could be audios as well. But think websites. Websites is probably the most natural example. Well, even backing up a step from that, everyone knows about using AI to write content. So most people have written blog posts or written emails by talking to the AI and say, hey, I need an email that's going to go out, that's going to announce that I'm doing this class. Can you help me write it? And it does this amazing job of writing it. And everyone knows how to do that. Then we start saying, oh, you can use AI to make web pages. Wow. And guess what? They don't look like you built them. How many of us have built web pages and then felt embarrassed like it just looks like hell, right? I know I have over the years. Many of you guys have probably seen pages at Mike Mandel Hypnosis. Maybe it looked okay to you back then, but if you looked at it now, you'd go, that's a horrible embarrassment. I know I feel that way. And with AI tools, you never ever have to feel like you built something that looks like garbage again, which is pretty amazing. And then here's your next step, whether it be editing a video, editing an audio, producing a beautiful PDF guide, fully designed with something like Claude Design. Like you basically freed from all of the burden of having to be an expert at making things look good or making things sound good or you name it. AI can handle all of that stuff for you. So you really do get to it's a leveling of the playing field. You can just get back to, okay, what is it that I do that differentiates from everyone else? You can start thinking about how you serve your clients again instead of having to think about being this like technically competent at everything
Mhm.
entrepreneur. And I
Yeah.
think that's really useful.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the entire genesis of like exactly what you said. For the last couple of weeks while you were gone, like you said, I ran a really a Claude Cowork masterclass.
Hmm.
There's some like I see in the chat some of you guys talking about how you're using Cowork,
Hmm.
and there's some knowledge gaps that many of you probably don't have because Chris and I, we spend $50,000 a year almost on our own masterminds. And these
Hmm.
people are way smarter than we are. So we bring that
Yeah.
knowledge back. And part of the masterclass that I taught in the mastermind was about using Claude and Claude Cowork and actually how to spin up agents, but not just spin them up and use them. I created a special agent for all the mastermind members called Forge. And Forge is able to create agents on the fly that either it saves, so you have them for life inside of Cowork, or Forge will create an agent for temporary use. Now, what is that good for? Well, for anyone that's using Cowork, your claude.md file, that Cowork that is inside the root folder where Cowork is, that claude.md file is read every single chat in Cowork. Every new Cowork chat that you do, it reads that first. So if you have all of your business
It's
knowledge
like boot up
stacked, yeah,
instructions.
it's like boot up instructions. If you have all of your business knowledge stacked in there,
Hmm.
then when you start to spin agents up to work for you, they at least have enough business content knowledge so that the agent itself is being built for your business, not just a
Hmm.
generic agent, but it's being built for your business. And then you can run that agent alongside other agents that can do things like review ads and give you strategy. Like I know it's over a lot of people's heads, yeah, but I'm just saying that if you haven't even started looking at Cowork or Claude yet, I would at least just start getting the basics. All you need is a $20 a month account, and you just need to install the desktop app. It's really, really easy. And then just play with it.
Hmm.
The best thing, and I'll leave it at this, if you ever get stuck on what to do, just ask the AI. Just say, hey, Claude, I'm stuck here. What should I do? And it'll walk you through the steps. Just do a meta prompt. That's all.
Yeah. Another thing you might do just to keep it super simple is if you want to play around with something like Claude Cowork, install it and then give it access to a folder on your computer and then say, hey, I want to have a conversation with you about all the stuff that I've got to do. Can you help me organize my life? And you'll be amazed 10 minutes later. Just let it help you. Watch what happens. We want to go. I do see Alexandra's put a comment in here about needing help with a lead magnet for women with limiting beliefs around love and a group coaching program. So we could absolutely talk about that. We could bring you on and hot seat that a little bit. Um, I think that's good because, first of all, it comes back to the staircase we were talking about. You have the offer in mind, and then you want to go back down to like, what's the thing that they're going to have to do right before they buy the offer? And then the thing before that could be your lead magnet. That would make a ton of sense. Um, and I just want to make sure, does that make sense to do now, or is there anything else that we need handled before we jump into that?
Well, see here. So Mike had asked a question previously. Maybe we can just answer some of these questions first.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, Mike Bowler, he said, not really a question, but at least one to start, getting these calls going. We talked earlier about paid ads and using video. Since
Hmm.
then, I've published 16 very short videos. Actually, you know what, Mike? Why don't you
Yeah.
just,
Do you
since
want to
you're
jump
here,
on?
why don't you just talk?
All
We'll
right.
make
Mike's
this
right
At,
here.
interactive.
Yeah.
at the last one of these calls, we had talked about getting started. Somebody recommended Laurel's program, which I signed
Yeah.
up for.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was us.
And
Yeah.
so her whole thing is run a whole bunch of organic videos. First of all, find the one
Hmm.
that's doing the best and run an ad around that. And that's exactly what I'm doing.
Hmm.
So I've got 16 videos up and running right now. I used Claude extensively for all of that. So tying conversations together here. So I've got 16 videos up and running. The one that performed the best organically is now running as an ad. That ad just kicked off last night, so I don't have any good numbers off the ad yet.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's been an interesting learning experience. It's going
Yeah,
slower
yeah.
than I had hoped, but
That's
it,
always the way it
it
goes.
always
Yeah.
goes slower than I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, when you said that you got Laurel's stuff and you already have 16 short videos up, is this before or after you did the Content Bible and ICA? Did you at least
Well,
do
I started
that
with
part of it
the
first?
ICA and the Content
Okay,
Bible for one
perfect.
of I actually have three avatars now. So I've done
Okay.
the ICA and the Content Bible for each one
Got
of
you.
them.
Oh,
And
Okay,
wow.
I'm very
got
That's a
you.
lot of work.
specifically targeting one of the avatars to
Yeah.
start with.
Got you. Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, just because Laurel says do the homework first.
Yeah.
So,
But
Yes.
that's okay.
yeah.
I get the idea. You put up the 16 ads, those were just
Yeah.
organic posts, and you're using those to find out which ones got the best engagement that you could then turn into, like boost it or something like that.
Right. So now I'm boosting
Mhm.
that as with an actual paid ad on the Meta platforms to
Perfect.
drive people to my funnel for hypnotic work. Because that's one of
Perfect.
my for those who don't know me, I mostly do my work in organizational change, not on
Yeah.
one-on-one hypnotic change, even though I've been in the MMHA for 10 years now.
Yeah. Mike, you do a lot of work with the corporate world, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
But right
Helping people.
now,
Yeah.
the corporate market is a little soft at the moment, so I'm trying to build up my hypnosis work, which I've never actually got paid for before.
Right. Right. Right.
I've done it for free, but now I'm trying to
Yeah.
get paid for that. So the first avatar I built out is that market. How do
Oh,
I
okay. Now you have a lot of testimonials from people who you've helped for free over the years, I imagine, right? Or you could
well,
reach out and ask for them.
disappointingly, no, I don't.
You could probably reach out. I mean, you could even go into the MMHA Engage group and say, "Hey guys, if I've done a free session for you over the years, would you mind shooting me an email with a testimonial over here and just give them your address?"
I may
Um,
do that.
here's why I'm bringing this up for everybody else. Use an AI tool to build yourself a database of testimonials. It'll come in really handy. Here's what I did with Claude Cowork. I took a big ass spreadsheet. That's the technical term, I think, right? Big ass spreadsheet
Yeah,
that one of
BAG.
my, yeah, Preeti on our team had built it. I think I got her to scrub through, like back before we had AI to do this. It was like, okay, we've got, oh, here are all these emails. Here are all these photo screenshots from Facebook ads or like anywhere a testimonial lived. I just dumped that into a Google Drive or something and asked her to organize it, and she did. And then I took that whole spreadsheet and I fed it to AI and said, can you make me a database of testimonials? And it on its own decided to do that as something called a CSV file, which most of you guys will know is just comma separated values. It's just like a text file, but it's sort of to a computer looks like a spreadsheet. And so it built that for me. It organized everything, categorized all the testimonials. So now, whenever we're creating emails or like landing page copy, or let's say we're doing a video script or using Laurel Portie's strategy to do direct copy ads, which she calls the Hot 7 campaign, it says, oh, well, we want some testimonials in here. Oh, I guess we can grab them from this file that I made, can't we? Yes. So it starts incorporating your own assets that it's organizing for you. And it's really quite elegant because here was an interesting rule. I learned this from Laurel Portie as well. So lots of kudos to her. She's become a friend. And she said, if let's say you put out a piece of sales copy, like a video in your market, if somebody else could take your exact video script and record that same video and put it on their channel and it would work, then it's a bad video script because it's not unique enough to you, right? So you want your content. Just think about this. Forget AI, it doesn't really matter. This is just a general principle of putting content out there. The content that you put out there should be something that nobody else could just say the same words as you said in your video because it wouldn't make sense. I'll give you a good example. If Mike Mandel is putting out a video talking about how you don't, most people say, oh, well, only 10% of people are good hypnotic subjects. Well, those people have never learned to calibrate properly. And I remember being at a presentation one time where a guy was doing a demonstration, and here he was walking back and forth on stage, hypnotizing this guy, and he kept going and going and going because he didn't realize the person had gone in and out of trance 4 times in the last 5 minutes, and he was still trying to do his induction. And then he deconstructs it and stuff. Like, so this is a very Mike Mandel story, right? Nobody else could tell that unless they were lying. They couldn't tell that story. It wouldn't be unique to them. And so if your content can be unique to you and actually help solve people's problems, it'll do really well. And so that's why I come back to, if you have testimonials, put them into an AI to help that you can leverage it later and say like, hey, help me find the right testimonial for this email, for this sales page, for this video. And Mike, if you don't have them yet, start gathering them and then of course throw them into your AI so that you can gather them.
Okay, so let me
Yeah.
stop you there. I've done everything you just said, only the only testimonials I have are from my organizational change.
Yeah.
I don't have any testimonials, but I've done exactly what you said. Claude is tracking all my testimonials, is keeping a database of them.
Hmm.
I'm using them in my marketing copy, but only on the organizational side. So I still need to collect ones on the personal side.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is a next major piece of homework for you is just see if you can get some easy wins there. Just email out the people who you know you've done sessions for. Would you say something nice?
Yeah.
Uh, So, and speaking of Laurel, Tina said that back when she ran Facebook ads, Laurel did her campaigns.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
awesome.
super
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, Tina, you're in great hands.
Yeah. Yeah, she's yeah, I got to meet her in New Orleans because she came as a guest to our mastermind. Now she's a member. Not the Pykthos Mastermind, a different one, the one that Timothy and I are in. And yeah, it's fantastic. Like I really do like to stand on the shoulders and give credit to the people who have taught us stuff. And she's now one of those people I consider to be very, very strong at what she does. And she knows her shit, right? So that's why I'm listening to her. And it has reinforced over and over the comment that if you want to make more sales, generally in this kind of business that we're all in, you need to have more conversations. Now, it's a different beast if you're selling low ticket, like cohort type of stuff. You might not want to have a whole conversation around buy this $47 seat to a class that I'm holding. You might not want to have a conversation if you're Chris Thompson running Mike Mandel Hypnosis around a $1 trial to the academy. That's not really a good thing to invest time into a conversation. But if I'm selling a $2,000 ticket to a class, or if I'm selling an ongoing membership in a mastermind, that's a really worthwhile thing to have a conversation on. So if you're selling sessions, absolutely start conversations, start more freaking conversations, and do it in a way that you are offering to help serve them. If you can invest a few minutes in helping get someone a little bit closer to a transformation, they're more likely to do business with you.
Yep. Yep. And actually, that I think this is a great point, and a great time to actually shift the conversation, because when it comes to people making their offers, and when it comes to people, selling their stuff, we just got to tell you there is a right way and a wrong way to do it.
Do you want me to tell the story on this?
Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, Timothy and I had just talked about this earlier today because I totally forgot to tell him about this until today.
So funny.
Couple of weeks ago, just before I was off in Europe, I happened to be on a Facebook group that was about hypnosis and hypnotherapy. It's a fairly large one and it's a public group, so many of you might know which one I'm talking about and may have seen the thread. But I happened to see this one thread where, let me just see if I can give you guys the summary edition. A woman basically asked, hey, does online hypnotherapy work and how much does it cost? Seems like
Yeah.
She's curious. Maybe she wants some help and she wants to know, does it work and how much does it cost? Like that's a pretty normal thing to ask, right? Well, here was the thing that we discovered. And I looked through all of the replies. There were 50 people who replied to this. So it was very busy thread. 90% of the people simply answered the question like, oh, yes, I'm a hypnotherapist and absolutely it works online. Here's a link to my website and I charge 50 pounds or 95 pounds or $125 or whatever it is. So you have 45-ish people out of the 50 responses that basically just said, here's my website or send me a DM. Here's how much I charge. What does that do? What does that make hypnotherapy look like? A freaking commodity, right? And with random, like imagine you go, hey, I got a cavity. Do fillings work and how much? And they go, yeah, they work. I charge $5. Yeah, they work. I charge $100. And you'd be like, what the hell? Like, doesn't make any sense. Like, is one of you guys using gummy bears and the other one is using gold? You know, I don't know. It's the wrong way to market. So we started thinking about this and realized what that thread teaches us is the bar to look good is embarrassingly low in our space.
Yeah.
And which is a kind of a good thing. Like, yay, us, pat us on our backs. We're all spending time thinking about marketing here. So we're not going to ever do that. So, but I think there's some good lessons there. You don't want to be fishing in, you don't want to be part of that pond where, how much does hypnotherapy cost? Oh, it's $100. I charge $100. Here's a link to my website, along with the 50 other people who are doing exactly the same thing. You just wasted a bunch of time. So Timothy, or any of you actually, I'd be curious what you all think. What would be some better approaches if you saw a thread like that, if you wanted to participate?
Yeah. Okay. I'll get this started. So very first thing is you need to pick a clear specialty. Like niching matters. I do not care who you are, what you do. If you just say, I serve everybody, you serve nobody. What you're selling has to resonate with the audience. For example, I would never go out and buy a Lamborghini. If all I saw were ads for Lamborghinis and it was like, you should buy a Lamborghini, I'm not going to buy it. But if the thing that I'm really, what's important to me is my status, making sure people know that I'm awesome, that I'm amazing, then having like a nice car, nice clothes, that kind of stuff matters. In the hypnosis space, same thing applies. Just because you say, I do hypnosis, come buy my thing, that doesn't mean anything. So you have to think of your niche as where's the pool of money that I'm going to go after because that's the kind of person that I need to talk to. So I made the last strategy cafe. I made the astute observation. One of our mastermind members had showed their website, and they said, "Can you take a look at this and give me your opinion?" And the website said some really pretty things, but they never talked specifically to a person. So I told them, I said, well, what if you just add like what I consider a qualifier, which is like the kind of audience I'm talking to? What if you said homeless people? Like, are you expecting them to buy from you? And he goes, well, no, because they don't have money. And I said, exactly. So who would you put instead? Like, would it be entrepreneurs, lawyers, doctors? Because this person wanted to make six figures. In order for you, and this goes back to your original conversation, Chris, about why you start with the end in mind. In order for you to go after the kind of people that you want to go after and make the kind of money you want to make, you have to know, one, who has that kind of money, And number two, what is it you're going to offer that specific type of person in order to work with you? That's why having a niche is really important. So pick a specialty. That I'm just going to leave it there. Pick a specialty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well, for sure. Pick a specialty is one part. The other part would be like, if you, I'll just say this. If you respond to the person with like, well, here's what I charge, here's my website, and 45, 50 other people are doing the same thing, you're just investing time in that one particular person. Nobody later. I'd be saying, think about the people who are going to read that thread later and respond with them in mind too. I think I do this also on these calls. Like if if somebody asks a question, I'm going to do my best to answer their question, but also in a way that's useful for everyone else. So answer the person's question in a way that will be useful for future people who read. So rather than just, here's my website, here's my link, ask that person a better question. Position yourself as somebody who does things differently, right? What are you looking for help with specifically? You know, at least that's a minor thing. At least that one will communicate, oh, you mean it's not all the same? Like, or if they do give you some specificity, drop them a link to a piece of content that will move them forward. Because that way, at least the people who are seeing the thread later, they don't see you pitching. They see you asking a clarifying question, which is smart. So now you look different, or offering some sort of value in the form of content, which is going to make you seem different. And you're not just a pitchy pitch. What do you call that person? A pitchy Lou? I don't know. Whatever. You're not just pitching.
Lou.
Don't just pitch. Just like offer value. I think that's the key. It's like starting a conversation is a hell of a lot better than just, oh, here's what I charge.
Yes. Yeah.
So I thought that was useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bar to be better than the vast majority of the people who were in our space is embarrassingly low.
Yeah. Yep. Now, I do see a hand up. We have Jonas, but I don't know if he had like a different question or if he was just trying to chime in on this idea of a bunch of people pitching.
Yeah, if it's related to this, let's get you to unmute now. If it's a separate question, let's go to Alexandra's first, but tell us first.
It's sort of related. It's not the exact same thing. But I noticed that people who ask me for the price on my ads, they never buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they are price sensitive.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work for them. And I also noticed that when I started answering these questions on my ads, I got poor results because, and I asked some other marketers about this, and they said that the algorithm starts to think that these is your kind of people if you start to talk to them too much
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
in
I agree with that.
in the algorithm. So so I just now I just sort of like ignore or delete those kind of questions.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. You know, if they want to know the price and they're already hypnotized to believe the best deal is the lowest price, it's not going to be you. And if it is you, you're not making any money, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're the guy who wins because you're the lowest price, what are you doing? Like it reminds me of Mike Mandel when he said everyone started getting into stage hypnosis in Ontario. So some people would compete with him just for a free hotel room for the night. You know, I'll do a show if I just get a free room. It's like, ugh, can you imagine? That's horrible. So you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. Ah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Let's
Well,
go to Alexander's question on lead magnets.
all right. Yeah, Alexandra, do you want to unmute yourself and ask about lead magnets?
Let's talk about your niche and your what you want to do.
Sure, why not? Hi guys.
Hello.
Hey.
So like I said, I help women with limiting beliefs around love so
Okay.
they can manifest as a word, right? The healthy relationships that they've always wanted. I tend to work with women that are very settled in other areas of their lives. So they have like a good career or a business,
Mhm.
they have friends, they travel, they've got the money, but love is missing in their lives. So far it has been word of mouth, but I need like you were saying at the beginning, a system, right? And that's the
Yeah.
thing that I'm not sure what to do because obviously a session would just be too much for a freebie or for like really low. I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
What is it that what is it that you're actually selling then in terms of that top of the staircase, the thing that pays the bills? What does it look like? Is it a package? Is it a group class? Is it
So I was doing one-on-one,
okay.
but it got too much. So what I'm trying to move into is doing a group, and then they get one session with me. And in the group is all about working through those limiting beliefs, how to be on dates, how to deal with the dating world, and how to show up, etc.
Okay.
Okay.
When you say it got to be too much when you were doing one-on-one, what does that mean?
Um, so I have a chronic disease, and I just get burnt out really fast.
Okay.
And I found that I could only do like 2 calls a week maximum.
Got you.
Um, and yes, I know I could put the prices up, but I don't know. It just feels like I can't.
Hmm.
Which,
Okay.
yes, limiting
Okay.
belief, 100% agree,
All right.
1000%. But I also
Interesting.
feel like it's such a good thing to teach women how to date better, how to
Hmm.
have those healthy relationships. And yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so I guess Alexandra, well, the first question I have is this still the same question in terms of like lead magnet and what to do, or are these two separate issues?
I think that right now, the one thing that I feel stuck in is really like, what is that entry point first?
Okay,
Because
cool.
so far I've done like word of mouth.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so I know the group program that I'm creating, I don't have a problem with that, but it really is that entry point, something that I
Mm.
can put through ads or something, and I really just can't come up with any ideas.
Okay.
Okay.
So as I have a little coughing fit here.
Oh,
Okay, I have an idea for you.
yeah, yeah.
The best ideas are going to come from your audience. So, if you are planning on doing a group program anyway, what if you just put out there that you're doing a webinar, like or a master class of some, so whatever you want to call it in a way that's going to resonate with your audience. Like show up and I'm going to teach you a bunch of things that'll be useful towards this transformation. So for those women so you've got the career, you've got the friendships, you've got the freedom in your life, you've got the money, you don't have the love. This is what's missing. I'm going to teach you A, B, and C things that will help you start to get towards that outcome that you want. And you do that. You deliver the goods. You just hold a class, but you dedicate a crap load of time for Q&A at the end of it, right? So you teach the three things and then just open season, just talk to me. Now record the whole thing, obviously Zoom or whatever. And then this is where AI can come in quite handy too, because it can then go through the transcript and start to pull out through the right prompting. Hey, what were some of the key questions that people asked, and how might I dial that down into a lead magnet, right? But you need the context. So if you can get a ton of people to ask you a bunch of questions, or maybe you have already transcripts from prior calls that you've done, or maybe you have a lot of notes from one-on-one sessions and you know what the main issues are, you could dump all of that into a big AI conversation and say, hey, suggest to me what is a good line. If the AI understands the framework of a lead magnet, you can use that. Or we have a course, maybe we should drop the link in the chat. I think it's pykthos.com/get
Get leads. I
yeah,
got you. I
get leads,
got
all one
you.
word. Okay, Timothy, throw it in the comments. We have a course on lead magnets, which will help you, because with lead magnets specifically, you want to make sure that the lead magnet is promising one clear thing, can deliver that in like 10 minutes of consumption time or less, which is why, the free mini ebook course, or like the mini email course, like I'm going to send you an email for 14 days, one email a day. No one gives a crap about that as a lead magnet. It's just crappy. And no one wants to watch a 1 hour video either. Well, some people do, but it's just like they won't consume it. They will move on. Lead magnets should be very high perceived value, very high actual value, so look good and seem like they're going to be really useful. Solve a problem in like 5 to 10 minutes, but and this is actually a Laurel Portie secret that I loved this tip from her. She's like, you know what? You want the freebie to solve a problem, but unveil the real problem, the bigger problem. So think about your market, Alexandra. What do these women have that's a problem that you could actually solve, like in a legit way? It's not clickbait bullshit. You truly give them an answer to the one thing that the headline promised the answer to, but in doing so would actually unlock an awareness. This would be that aha moment that they would have. They would go, "Oh, I thought I needed this, but oh my God, what I really need is this." And now that's your offer. That's what you're actually offering, right? That's the secret to all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I just like, it wasn't a new thing that Laurel said, but she said it in a way that just, it was like it hit me on the head. And I went, I will never forget that now. I will always remember. It reveals, not unveil, it reveals the bigger problem.
Yeah.
Solves our problem and reveals the bigger problem.
Right. And so
That's
in
what a
this,
lead magnet can do.
and so in this case, right, Alexandra, I just shared pykthos.com/get leads. That is our free lead magnet training, but it also comes with the free GPT that you can use that'll help you create the lead magnet,
Thank
give you
you.
ideas, brainstorm, all that kind of stuff.
That's
Now,
why I wanted to mention it. Yeah.
yeah. Now, to what Chris just said, it helps you with creating the lead magnet and brainstorming and all that. But what do you do about the delivery? How do you get it
That's
to
where
the
we're eating our own
that
cooking, right? Yeah.
that's the next step that we're selling
Yeah.
is, well, how would I do that? Well, obviously the Pykthos Mastermind, where not only do we give you the training for leads, but we also have other goodies inside. There's people like us, to help you implement, and also you get the simple machine that already gets the pipeline going with workflows, like all of that. So
So this is like, yeah,
yeah,
that's not a pitch. It's an example of how we're actually doing the same thing, right? So
exactly.
we go, oh, you need to understand how to make a lead magnet. Here we've got a course and a GPT that will help you. And when you do that, what's going to happen is you're going to go, oh, I need to know how to launch the lead magnet. I need to understand how to automate the follow-up. I need to understand what I should do after that. And when you go through we have to update probably the follow-up now because we've got that simple machine. But the ideal person who would opt into that course will use it and then go, oh my God, I need the mastermind. Like that, of course, that's why we create these things, right? So does that help you at all? Like, let's hear from you now. What can you think of already that are some obvious problems you can solve with a lead magnet that would uncover the real problem?
I feel like probably something around the dating or how they message or their online profile, something like that could be
Mhm.
like quick, I
Oh yeah,
imagine.
like
Yeah.
how to set up your the ultimate, the five key tips to the ultimate online profile. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's sort of like, for business people, it's like how to set up your LinkedIn, but for whatever the dating apps are these days. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, great. That's sort of a surface level thing, but then what you're really leading them towards is you need to understand how to have better conversations and then apply better filters and ask questions that will identify kind of green light, red light moments, or
Mhm.
or
Yeah.
how to stand in your own power, how to be more assertive and more um, whatever it is that they want, which could lead to the sessions that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
courses. Yeah, that would be the no-brainer. I'd be really just thinking about the journey that you need someone to discover you exist, get some little value, uncover the missing thing that you can then lead them towards the bigger value. And what's that transformation? Describe the transformation that they go through when that happens. Who do they become? They start as this person, but they become this other person. That's the thing they're buying from you. And they're just
Mm.
getting as a lead magnet the surface level awareness of that transformation that they need. So they'll never look back and go, "Oh, you didn't actually deliver the goods." Like, of course you did, right? How to set up your profile. That would be sort of like I'm thinking back to there's a few people who've done a really good job of lead magnet, which was like a shopping list or a an equipment list. You want to do
Yep.
good videos online? Here's a list of the equipment that you can use. Great. But then what's that really going to unveil? The problem of
Mhm.
like, how do you present well on camera? How do you figure out what to say, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And then people
Mhm.
can lead you into their coaching program of how to be just a kick-ass presenter or whatever, educator,
Mhm.
creator, whatever the process is. But it'll all start with like, here's a list of stuff that you could buy. And no one would ever feel bad after, like, oh, the guy actually delivered me a really good list of stuff that I could buy that he actually uses,
Yeah.
totally ethical, solved
Yeah.
a tiny problem and unveiled a bigger problem.
Yeah. Now, one thing I love about what you just said, Chris, is it immediately sparked in my mind the idea of the customer value journey and
Mhm.
how we usually use the Ryan Dice metaphor of the dating, but this
Yeah,
actually perfectly
this
applies to
is dating. Yeah,
Alexandra. So
yeah.
let me walk you through this really briefly, and then I'll turn it back to you, Alexandra, on how this works with your lead magnet. So in the
Mm.
customer value journey, there's like these steps that a customer goes from being a complete stranger to buyer, right? And the psychology changes throughout every step because beforehand, there, if you can imagine you're at like a coffee shop, right? And the steps are you have to become aware and then you have to engage, then you subscribe and convert. So I'll just go through those four, right? Real quick. So if I'm at a coffee shop and maybe I'm just like looking around, but I happen to see somebody and I thought they were attractive. I glance at them and I'm like, oh, I'm now aware of them. So for you, this is social media posts, whatever, right? Someone sees your thing, goes, oh, this looks neat. Now you go from awareness to engagement. That typically happens at the same time. That could be someone sees your social media post, clicks like, leaves a comment. Easy, right? Now, where you go from engagement to subscription, that's where you're now exchanging information with each other. So the coffee shop metaphor is I now am aware the person's over there. I've
Mhm.
walked up to engage with them, and now I'm saying, hey, we should exchange numbers. This is where your lead magnet comes in, right? But we have to think about what actually happens downstream. So we go from subscription, meaning I've given the lead something in exchange for their email address, but now I have to convert them, meaning I'm changing their buyer psychology from potentially just a stranger, but now into a possible buyer. So conversion is usually some investment of time, like an hour. This is where your discovery call comes in. Or it could be a low dollar thing, like think like 20, 30 bucks or below, right? Once we get them from I've only given you an email address to I've now spent more time with you, that's like taking them on that first date. Obviously, you're not going to ever ask them, hey, what should we name our kids? That's creepy. But we're slowly getting them to the first date. And after the first date, we have to excite them. And the excite phase is where we're showing them an aha moment that makes them go, oh, this is why I want to buy Alexandra's whatever package or her coaching thing or whatever it is, right?
Hmm.
Then we go to the ascension phase, and this is where they just buy your core offer, and that's where your like group stuff comes in. So for your lead magnet, we have to get them from like stranger to I've now got their email address and then convert them to some type of low dollar or time investment, right? So you actually named it perfectly. And this goes back to what Laurel's stuff is. If they know how, example, to fill out their profile, what's the next obvious step that they wouldn't know? Well, what if somebody messages them because of your advice on the profile and now they're getting anxiety because they're like, oh, I didn't think I'd make it this far. I don't even know how to talk to this person. That is the next step that you would sell. So maybe you go from, all right, I've now helped you set up your profile, but if you need help knowing what exactly to say to this person, I have this $20 course that teaches you my top 10 favorite principles on conversation for dating. And then from there you buy, oh, or you can
Yeah.
join my group thing where I teach you live and we go through people's profiles and I help you answer the conversational questions and talk to your actual potential mates, like that kind of stuff. So, do you see how that journey also maps in with what you're currently doing?
Yes. No, that makes so much sense.
I still, I'm laughing because you mentioned, women with limiting beliefs, and then you identified to yourself as like,
Yes.
I could just raise my prices, but haha, limiting belief. Yeah. So do something, maybe do a little thinking on that.
Well,
Because
think a Ruski.
if you're only willing to do, and this is a very, very important, again, this is always like bringing it back to everyone else. Okay, what are your constraints, guys? So Alexander's identified a clear constraint, or not really constraint so much as choice. I am choosing to limit myself to two of these types of sessions per week max, right? I can only do two because otherwise my life's going to get worse in some way. For everybody's different, right? It could be I just don't want to take it out of family time. It could be I already have a career here and I'm doing this as a side hustle and I can only justify two sessions or whatever the case may be. Um, but if you can only do two, then you have natural scarcity, right? So what happens, like if Tesla could only make two cars a week, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't charge, $40,000 for the Model 3 or whatever the price is today. I don't know. They'd cost a heck of a lot more than that. So I would give it an honest thought and just go like, okay, how could I raise my price? But also I recognize that it kind of feels sometimes jerky to just go, oh, I'm raising my prices, screw you if you can't afford it. So you can do a bit of a hybrid thing. You mentioned, for example, having a program that included one session with you. But then you're promising everybody who buys that program, they're paying for the session with you. Now, that's fine. You could do that, but you would probably have to charge a lot of money for that. Versus what if, just as an option, just thinking the brainstorming out there, right? What if the program didn't come with the session with you, but that was the upsell along the way? Not in a
Yeah.
hard pressury upsell kind of way, but the same kind of thing that we would do here. It's like, hey, you've got Strategy Cafe. This was free, but imagine that you guys paid like $10 to sign up for this or something. And we deliver you great value. It's like, okay, we're going to teach you this thing. It was great for your $10. Oh, by the way, if anybody wants help, setting up the simple machine, just join the Pykthos Mastermind. We'll do an onboarding call with you and we'll help you get that set up. By the way, this is what the investment would be. No pressure. Nobody would get mad at us, right? They'd be like, "Oh, thanks for letting me know." So you could do the same thing. You could have a group program where it's whatever price. Now it's very affordable and you can serve because let's say you're doing that in 1 hour a week or something like that. Now you've got ultimate scalability where maybe your chart, whatever the price is, doesn't matter, but you're doing 1 hour a week of work with the group, and at the appropriate time, let's say the cohort lasts 6 weeks, maybe on week 5 or week 4 is when you start seeding oh, by the way, a lot of women that I work with, they get a big result when we do a one-on-one session, usually because they need to do an identity shift. They need to build an assertive profile. They need to build, I'm just mind reading here. I don't know what these women need, but They need, usually it's some like identity shift, I would imagine. So,
Yeah.
and so I can help you do that. We can't really do that in a one-on-one in an effective way. Like I can give you a lot of the bits and pieces. You're gonna have to do this work on your own, and you can do that. Or if you're interested, I do have only 2 slots per week, or over, maybe frame it differently. Like over the next 3 months, I've got 8 slots open. If you want one of them, feel free to book a call with me here and we can discuss it. And then charge appropriately for that, because that way you're serving your audience with a lower ticket group program, and you're still giving those who are interested, which will probably be like up to 10% or so of the people who join, will be like, yeah, I want that. And then you can charge what you want and still respect the 2 per week limit, which would be pretty good.
Yeah, I I have thought about this so much because I can't take as many one-on-ones as I was. Um, I do group EFT tapping in my
Hmm.
program. I used to have a membership. I did that as well in there. So that works well in the group. But I do find that, yeah, to do like what we do inside of MMHA, with like the ego states work or all the hypnosis work that we do,
Hmm.
one-on-one, it needs to be one-on-one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even better, that
So
way you could justify it too, right? Like here are tools that we can do in a group format. Here are these other tools that really can't work. I mean, let's say mindscaping, if you were using something like that. Can't do that in group format. So if
yeah.
you're interested, here are the benefits of it. Reach out, let me know. And then you cap it and charge a lot.
Okay. No, I kind of like that. I hadn't thought of that as an upgrade.
It seems like otherwise, if you include the session with you, you're selling a whole lot of sessions with you, which isn't
Yeah.
what you described that you wanted.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And also you have to realize too that so I get this from Jason Fladlin. He's considered like the master guru of webinars, but this
Hmm.
applies throughout other things too. What he described was the way that people often will bundle whatever it is that they're putting together, not realizing that there's actual buyer psychology that comes into play with it. So
Hmm.
what some people will do, for example, is they'll offer their core thing. Like let's say it's $1,000 and it's a group coaching, right? But then they'll say bonus and they'll say, like one-on-one call with Alexandra, right? And it's valued at $5,000, right? People won't look at that though, because you've bundled it in with the $1,000 thing. They will value it in conjunction with your whatever price it is. So what Jason will do is he actually splits the bonuses separate from the core offer. So he'll pitch the core offer and say, this is what this is going to cost you today. And then he'll add a limited time or a sense of urgency or a FOMO or whatever it is and say, only
Hmm.
for a limited time, though, you get these bonuses that I don't give at this price anywhere else.
Hmm.
So now you're separating them, you're stripping them apart. As soon as you add them together as like, if you get this, you also get this, you're not giving them anything to compare it with. So
Actually, it's a
instead,
good point. Yeah.
what I
You can
would suggest,
still go
yes.
ahead. I'll let you
Oh,
finish. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So what I would suggest doing is if you're going to offer the group thing, I
Hmm.
would just add like a pricing table. You've seen it on websites, right? Buy this thing or the better offers this. I would have just your one-on-one next to it and have that thing be exponentially more. I'm talking like 10x more than your group. So if you sell the group for $50 a month, your stuff should be $500 per session. You have to buy 3 sessions, up front or something like that. Now they have something to compare it with. It's not a guessing game. So when
Hmm.
they really do see that you're including one of those calls included with the group, it gives them the ability to go, oh, this is how much it is just for that. I'm getting one of those included with this much less thing. That helps also for them to start thinking about the future. They can start mapping out if I do the group with her now, then if I save in 3 months, I can get her 3 month package if this works out. So it changes the way that they start viewing your products and your business. Chris, what do you want
Good
to
options. Yeah, I was thinking. Just to clarify, you're framing if she was to include the one-on-one with the
with?
cohort, which
Yes,
which which is probably not what you want to do. But like, if
correct.
you were going to, the way Timothy described it would be the way to do it.
Pricing table.
You would,
Yes.
yeah. Um, Otherwise, though, in your like for sure, let's briefly chat about bonusing in general because it's a good idea to have bonuses. So when people are signing up for your group cohort, so let's say you create your lead magnet. Let's say it's how to set up your online dating profile. Okay, great. Then you're going to probably want to invite people into some sort of like webinar style presentation about, hey, let me, now that you've got the lead magnet, let me get you to come into this class where I'm going to teach you three things about whatever, maybe going beyond the profile, communication strategies or direct messaging strategies to filter out creeps from, real husband material or something like that. Because I imagine that's like people are they're probably looking for a long-term partner, right? They're not looking
Yes.
for just like hookup
Yeah.
culture or something.
No.
So, okay, how do so let me teach you the three things you need to know to filter out the players from the actual husband material type thing. Okay, great. They come into a webinar. That's where the conversion activity that Timothy described takes place. They're committing some time. You could charge a small ticket for it, or you could just have them pay with their time. They're showing up. And that's probably my preference. I'd make it free. Both work. My gut says do something like this as a freebie. And that's where you're going to pitch the actual group cohort stuff. You're just laying out, here, I'll grab a post-it note. Ryan Dice did it like this. I explain how he explained it. This is your group program or that you're actually going to sell on the webinar. The webinar itself, sticky. That's what you're teaching on the webinar. It's a
Okay.
piece of this, right? And then that's your webinar. That's the lead magnet. Make
Okay.
sense? So
Yeah.
start with the lead magnet, something that uncovers a little simple thing. Let them be invited into a presentation where you're going to teach them even more useful stuff, where you're going to use that even more presentation to give them that aha moment, like, oh, didn't know that. Wow, yes, I want to join the coaching program. They join the coaching program, have some bonuses that you can include in that. If you sign up before this date, you also get, now you already have assets. And this is where in Pykthos land, we talk about things like your marketing asset inventory list. You have skills like an EFT skill you teach already, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you have a little course on that, or even if it's like a one single video, just give that as a bonus. Hey, I'm going to teach it anyway. I mean, they don't know this, but you're going to cover that in the group cohort. They get a video that they keep, a little video course that goes in the membership library or something. And like the Pykthos platform or Kajabi or any other platform that has courses, you could deliver that and they could just have it for life, right? So when you buy the coaching cohort program, they also get this bonus, which is something you were already going to teach them anyway. They just get the asset to keep. They get this other bonus. They get this other bonus. Like come up with some things that are worth extra and just package that into the offer, but that they don't. Does that make sense? So that
Yes.
you'll increase your conversion rate on selling the group program. And the more people you get into the group program, the more people will be exposed to the limited one-on-one sessions that you can offer. And
Okay.
I would probably model this out. Model it out with a little spreadsheet, and you can ask AI to help you out if you don't love spreadsheets like financial geeks like me. And then just figure out like, okay, what's my income goal? How many group cohorts can I sell in a year and what's the ticket price and how many people do I need in those? And in addition to that, let's say I'm going to do, maybe you don't even want to do two one-on-ones a week. Maybe you only want to do one. I'm going to do one one-on-one. So I have 50 one-on-ones per year. And I don't know if you're charging like a price for a single one-on-one or a package of one-on-ones. You would just have to do the math differently. But if you know, okay, it's going to be like it's $2,000 to buy the package, and let's say the package is 4 sessions. So now, really realistically, you can only sell, say, 15 of those in a year if you only want to do one a week. Okay, so now that's another 60 grand just in one-on-ones, something like that. So if you model that out and you go, well, my goal is I want to make 150 grand, so I need to make 90 from the group cohorts and another 60 from the one-on-ones, and that's my 150, however the numbers fall. And then just once you know what your goal is, then you can kind of backwards move into, okay, how many lead magnets do I need to get put how many people need to sign up for a lead magnet before I know 100 leads will turn into, 20 website, 20 webinar registrations, which will lead into, 2 cohort sales and 1 group session or something like that. My guess is the group sessions will be the limiting factor. Your one-on-one sessions will probably sell out. They'll be the easiest thing. You won't even have to think about it. It'll be capacity constrained already.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it really is. Marketing is just literally like math and making decisions. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not great at numbers,
And yeah,
but I
Me
will follow
either.
what Chris is saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
yeah, I love math.
Yeah. 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 Ultimately for Alexandra and for everybody else, like the way that he was describing the splinter model for lead
Yeah.
magnets and everything, what is your core offer? What are you actually selling people? And then if you can just take a small thing from that and be the thing
Yeah.
to teach somebody, what's the one thing that they'd have to learn before they're even ready to buy your thing? And then from that, what is like one little golden nugget that you could then
Yeah.
give for free in exchange for the email. So that'd be lead magnet into the conversion on like the discovery call into your bigger offer. And as long as you have those maps, everything mapped out, you can start with the end in mind and work backwards. Same result though. So hopefully you found
Excellent.
that useful and helpful.
Yes, I think the only worry I have is that I'm obviously targeting a certain type of woman and having like, oh, I'm gonna help you, like this freebie is gonna help you create the best Hinge profile, for example, might attract a lot of women in general.
Hmm.
And also that the women that I tend to work with are already pretty self-aware because they have done some sort of personal development work at one point, whether that was therapy, books, coaching, mindset, or whatever. So I worry that then they're going to be like, oh, that is just too basic. So they're not gonna go further. I don't know.
That's going to be solved with your client avatar. So
Okay.
you've got to build a really detailed ideal client avatar. And when you do that, the part of the building of that avatar is, and we did a workshop on that fairly recently.
Hmm.
Plus,
Yep.
we got all the tools in the mastermind. But you can ask AI to just generically help me build an avatar and help me make it really specific and help me solve for, describe to it what you just told us. I don't want just general women who want to make a Hinge profile. And what it's probably going to do is say stuff like, no problem. So, your avatar is, people who, whatever. I don't know what it's going to tell you. I won't try to guess, but it's going to help you suggest exact language that represents their real problems. And their real problems are going to be like let's say finding a quality husband, as opposed to the general Hinge profile might be, I just want to have company and or hookup culture or whatever it is. When you know what the problem is that the ideal woman that you want to serve has, that's going to then inform the language that you're using in making the offer. So your lead magnet around, let's say, setting up the profile is going to speak directly to what that woman wants, which isn't just any old random woman and setting up her profile. It's going to speak specifically to the type of women that you want to attract to your market.
Okay. Thank you. That was
You're
very
You're
welcome.
useful.
welcome.
We're getting close to the end here, so we should probably look towards the wrap up. Is there any other quick stuff that anyone needs covered, or we'll give you a few minutes of your afternoon back? All
Just,
right, going once,
yeah,
going
just looking
twice.
through the chat here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Just Joe saying nice things. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I hope you guys found that helpful. We would more than welcome any follow-up questions. And if you guys have questions about what we do inside of the Pykthos Mastermind, you're always welcome to email us, ask us questions about that stuff. We're pretty responsive.
Mhm.
And otherwise, if you have other topics that you would like us to cover in the next or in upcoming Strategy Cafe sessions, we are all ears. We love ideas that come from you guys. They're better than the ideas that we just decide to keep in our back pocket in case the audience is too quiet. But thankfully, that didn't happen, so that was good. And yeah, anything else, Timothy? Closing remarks before we end it?
Yeah. So even if you're just slightly interested at all in what we have to offer, like the Pykthos Mastermind, it's going to give you the ability to get your business up and running faster, specifically because there's no tech headaches. If you're not wanting to do this alone anymore, that's why we have the mastermind. We have brilliant people who are willing to help you. Multiple events that happen throughout the week, everything from casual co-working events where you get to work with other mastermind members to direct coaching from Chris and I. We'd love to have you. Pykthos.com, pykthos.com/mastermind. We'd love to see you there.
All right, and let's end it in our usual way. So we will say thanks once again, and
and
good night.
good night.